Hello everybody and welcome to Twisted 3C. Today we're going to be wrapping a staff for the U.S. Marine Corps veteran from Vietnam. In the video you're going to hear me say that he has a silver star. It was actually a bronze star, and I found out after the fact that I got the silver star done on the staff and had to cut it off and do it over. Also, in the beginning when I'm doing the U.S. Marine Corps at the top of the staff, I say 8 feet of red. You're actually going to need 14 feet to do this properly. So with that, let's get into this and have some fun. All right, these are the tools we're going to be using today. Of course, hockey tape, a rubber band. This is the 3/16 steel rod, the utility knife, some nails, a hammer, my lighter, a lacing fid, a knotter's fid, scissors, and a pair of pliers. Now you can already see I've already got the hockey tape wrapped up here. I'm going to put all these out of the way for now until we're ready to use them. The other thing we're going to need is a lot of paracord for this. So this is my first section of cord. This is that USMC at the very beginning that we're going to be doing. This is how I've plotted it out. I am going to change the U. I'm going to lengthen it out another space here. Instead of just 4, it's going to run 5, just to make it a little more uniform with everything else. So first thing I want to do is take one of these little tack nails. I'm actually going to need a few of them. And I'm going to take this yellow first, and I'm going to tack it all down on here. Now I want my center one to be right here with this hole into my staff. That's where my wrist strap's going to come out. So I'm going to put that there. I'm attaching 5 of these yellow cords, just like this. So when I cut these cords, I cut those at about 13 inches long. Okay, so what I should have done before I put those on is take my rubber band, put it on here and run it down. Now I've got about 8 feet of red here. All we're going to do with this, come right over here. Now you can see I'm putting that on so that I can wrap it around the whole thing. Okay. Set all that aside now. I'm going to change my pattern up. I only did 4 blocks on my U here. I'm going to change it to 5 so it's more uniform with everything else. So first thing we want to do, this is going to be just like this on this handle, on this wrap, is how it's going to sit. So what we want to do is decide how far down we need to come, because we're going to have a Turk's head knot, cover knot at the top here. So I'm going to go 5 turns. So I have 5 turns there. Now, each one of these represents one of these right here. So I'm going to take these 2 on the ends. I'm going to bring them up here. And then I'm just going to continue wrapping around. Okay. And now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, but we're going to lengthen this out to 5. So we've got 1 wrap there. So we want 3 more wraps. 1, and this all tight. 2, 3. So we have a total 1, 2, 3, 4 wraps right here. Okay. Now we're going to take these other 3 yellows, we're going to bring them up, we're going to wrap through like that. Okay, then bring everything back down. We're going to do another wrap here. Now, when we get to this point, now we need to start getting everything right where we want it. Pull this down tight. And you can see I'm kind of bulging right here, so I want to make sure I pull those down more. Okay, now we want at least 2 wraps, and actually I think I'm going to space it out. Well, let's look and see how it looks. So there's 2 wraps. Let's do 1 more. 1. Okay, so that's got me 3 wraps there. I'm going to pull those. Now we're going to do this S. Now because this M is so much wider than everything else, I'm actually going to do this as if I did it as wide as the M. That's what I did with my U. It's as wide as the M is going to be. So we're going to take all these cords, we're going to flip them up. We're going to do 1 wrap. Okay. up right there. We're going to leave this first one up. This is going to make this leg of the S right here. So we're going to leave that one out. We're going to go around. Okay, that's our first space right here. We're going to come back around again. That's our second space. We're going to take all these, go back up. So that when we come around, we're underneath. All our cords again. Like that. Now we've got this right here. We're going to do this leg coming down. So we're going to lift that one up. So I don't lose it again here. Come around. Oh, I'm keeping so much tension on that. Under it there. Okay. So this right here is our first space here. We'll come around. There's our second space. So everything's got to go over the top of our red on this pass right here. Okay. And we're just going to continue around. Go over the top of everything. Do everything a pull here, get it all nice and neat. So there's our U and our S. Now we're going to do the M. So the first one and the last one are going to come up. So the first one, oh wait, no, sorry, I got ahead of myself. We need to get our space between our letters here. So there's our second pass. We're going to do one more so that we're uniform with this up here. Pull down. Now when we come around, it's the first one and the last one. Okay. Now come around again. Now it's the first two. Come over the top. And our last two. Come over the top. Okay, now we'll come back around again. And this time it's the first one, the third one, and the last one. Come around again, and it's the first one, and the last one. what I want to do on this, you know what, I'm actually going to pull that center one and put it over two. I'm running out of cord. Like I said, it's the first time I've done this, so we'll see what happens. I might have to cut another cord and start over. In fact, I know I'm going to have to cut another cord because we still have to get a C and I'm not going to have enough. So I'm going to undo this, cut another red cord that's twice as long as what I've already got, and I'll let you know what length that is when I come back. I'll get this wrapped down to this point, then I'm out again and come back from there. I actually went with 12 feet on this red, and we're right back here where we were. That one, under that one, over all those three, and under that one again. And then we're going to come around it like this. Put everything down. There's our second wrap after our M. There's our third wrap. So now when we come back around, we are going to go underneath all of that. Okay. We'll come around. We'll go underneath that one, over those four. Around, go underneath that one again, over those four. Do it one more time. So we've got three here. Underneath all of that. And there's our U.S. Marine Corps. I'm just going to wrap this. I should have gone 13 feet. Or even 14. Okay, what I'm going to do now, so I'm going to secure this down. Okay, now I need to get rid of all these ends right here. Now what I'm going to do here, I've got a different style torch lighter here. And this one allows me, when I turn that on, I can turn it on and keep the flame running. Oh, there it is. And I'm going to heat this knife up do this, I don't want to hold the knife right here in the flame like this. Right out here at the very end of that center blue, I want to hold the tip of that knife in there. And then that will heat that up until it starts glowing really good. Once it starts glowing, I'm just going to come back through. Like that. Do it again. Doing this like this, I'm sealing all that cord off right there. Okay. Now we can start our star section. Roll this down a bit. All right, now we're going to start a bronze star. So this is going to be a triaxle weave. For this, I've got 3 lengths of cord, 2 in the color I'm going to use for the star, and 1 in the background. So with a bronze star, the ribbon is red, white, and blue, but most of that color is all red. And so I'm just going to do the background in red on this. So what I want to do is just take these, and I'm going to attach them with the little nails that I've got. Attach my 3 cords like that. I'm going to take this steel rod that I have. This is 12 inches long. It's 3/8 or 1/4 inch. I can't remember. But I'm just going to use these rubber bands that I got on here to hold it in place. what that does is when I take these cords now and I wrap them around, it's going to give me some space. So when I pull this out and I'm running my other cords in this, as I run my other cords in, it's going to tighten it up. If I didn't have this rod in here and I just wrapped it around, I'd have to pull some cord back through and loosen it all up. I found by doing it this way, it's just easier and faster, and I'm not wrapping this tight. I'm really doing this quite loose. And as I get down to the last cords, I'll show you why I want to do this fairly loose. Let's get another wrap here. 8, let's do 10. 9, 10. Okay, so we've got 10 wraps there. Bring this rubber band up here closer to it. Pull those through. I'm gonna so those just like that. Now I want some fid. Okay, I'm going to take my end, and I've gutted all of these. This is about a 16-foot length of cord right here, and you're doing this in sets of 3. So I have 1 red and 2 of the other color that I'm using, and I've set up 5 sets of these 3. I'm going to run 5 of these sets through this, and it's going to go, I'm holding this way, it's going to go from my left to my right on an angle. So basically about from where this rod is right up through to that point up in there. So if you don't have enough of an angle, it's not, your stars aren't going to come out. If you've got too much of an angle, it's not going to, they're not going to look right either. You've got to play with it. Do this for a bit. I have to laugh when Mark over at Paracord Guild does this tutorial on this and talks about it. The last thing he lists in supplies is patience, with a remark that says sold out in stores, because this does take a lot of time to do this. So the angle that I want on this is about like that. Okay, a little bit more about there. So I'm not quite coming all the way around my staff, but a little more than halfway on this one. So with this first red cord, it's going to go under the reds and over my other two cords. I've left my spacer in just so that it kind of keeps all this tight while I'm doing this. After I get my first probably 2 sets of cords in, I'll go back and I'll pull that rod out at that point in time, but I just want it in there because it keeps everything kind of snug. Tuck that end up underneath that rubber band. So you can see we're not quite making a full wrap coming back around with that. This one. Thread it on my lacing fid here. Okay. Underneath. Now this one's going to go over the first two and under the third one. So it's over 2 under one just like the other one, but we're going underneath that top cord there in the set. Place that end underneath the rubber band. this one is going to go over our red one under that first bronze one. I'm using this color as my bronze color for my bronze star. It's the closest thing I've got on hand for that color. So now it's going to go over 2 and under 1. So it's going underneath that middle cord in the set of 3. All right, so we've got this pattern going on right now. Now, after I get 4 of these sets of 3 in, I'm going to come back. You can see how I'm kind of pushing this together right here. I'm going to push those together and make enough room that I can get my last set of 3 through. So when I get to that point, I'll come back and I'll show you what I'm doing and how it looks at that point. And then we'll start putting our other weave through that runs from right to left. And then our stars will start appearing in this. All right, so I've got these all through. You can see there's some spacing here and there. Some of it's really tight right through here. So what I want to do is get it all so it's this tight. That's going to open up enough that I can get 3 more cords through. So I'm just going to take my knotter's fid and use it. My thumbs, I'm going to start right back here. I'm just going to continue to work around until I get all of it pushed over. And then I'll come back and we'll run those last 3 through and start our final section of weaving to start bringing the stars out. All right, so I've got this all how I want it. We're going to take a red cord. I'm going to go through right there. Now, the pattern we're looking for, we want this horizontal, this vertical, and this horizontal right here. And what we're going to do is take this and run it right up underneath like that. Pull it through. Make sure we get all the twists out of it. And we're just going to keep following that. Same pattern. All the way up through.
I'll be back in just a little bit. Do you need anything from me before I go?
Take our other color here. Stick this back under here again. Now, with our first one, the red one that went through, We came out of this one right here. This is the pattern we're looking for. This vertical, this horizontal, and this red vertical right here, or horizontal. So this horizontal, this vertical, this horizontal. Sorry about that. So what we're going to do is just the same thing. Go underneath that. And we will follow that all the way up to the other side again. I'm going to take this cord, I'm going to pull it back like this, just so I don't have so much here to work with. That should help it. So I don't get those twists in it. And as I get a little further along, I can just pull some through. That out. This is where this one's nailed in right here. I don't really want to go underneath that because I'll run the risk of pulling that nail out. So I'm just going to go up underneath my rubber band there. Grab my next cord here. And then right next to the one that I just did. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go underneath this one. And then the pattern that I'm looking for now is this horizontal, this up here. So I just went underneath this one right here where my cord, my last cord just went up through those three. I went underneath the first one and came out right there. I want This red horizontal, this vertical, and this horizontal right here is my next pattern. So I go underneath those. Okay. And I'm just going to follow that same pattern. All the way up to the other side. And underneath the rubber band again. Now, when I start running this red one through, you'll really see the star pattern show up in this. So this is that pattern we're looking for. Two horizontals and this red vertical. Go under that one, under that one, under that one. So it's under that horizontal, under the red vertical, under that other horizontal right there. Okay. So this red one came under this horizontal, this vertical, and this horizontal right here. So it's following the same pattern this one did, just a step away from it. You can see that star that's come in right there. Do that one more time. Okay, so I'm just going to continue doing this, running my cords through. When I get down to the last couple, I'll come back and show you how this is really tightened up on me and how I have to use my knotter's fid here to open those the path up to be able to get my lacing fid and cord through. All right, these are sailor's palms. These, I got both these off Amazon. The way this one works, it just goes on your hand like this. The only thing I don't like about this one is how big and bulky this is here. It gets in the way when I'm trying to work with stuff, so I have to take it off in between when I'm using it and when I'm not. This one, however, at first I didn't like it because there's no instructions that come with this. And so when it comes like this. And this used to have a little piece of metal in here, but I bent that metal so much it won't stay in there anymore. And most people will get this, put it on their hand like this, and then they'll try to figure out how to get this Velcro to stick. So they'll twist it over, or they'll bring it around the back side and twist it over. And I finally figured out there's actually another piece of nylon webbing sewn on the back here. And it's a little bit of a chore to get this to go up through. But you want to pull that through like that, and then stick your hand through there like that. My dog's over here messing around and stuff. And then it just pulls down and secures. And that's how that fits on your hand. And then with that, I can use that not only when I'm working with this to help push it through stuff, but with my lacing needle here, my lacing fid, I can get that right there and I can push that through when it's really tight. So this is my last strand. You can see how my stars look here. And we're following this path right up through here. And it's getting tight enough now that when I do this, I've got to open that pathway up. So I'm going under this red one, under this one here, and under this one here. And what I like to do is come under this one. Just open that one up there. Come back here. You got to be careful because that point will actually grab the paracord and can go through the cord. Just open those up like that, and then I like to come back and just follow through. Work that open. This is the way my lacing fid's going to go. Just open that up like that. Give it a little twist. Come back with this. And now I can push that through. When it gets really, really tight, and it's hard to actually pull it through, you can actually take your knotter's fid, stick it in the end of your fid right there, and you can actually push that through. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this last strand. I'm going to tighten everything up. Now when you tighten this up, if it's loose enough like this one is right here, the first thing I like to tighten up is the 3 strands that I wrapped around, and that's these 3 strands right here. And so I take my fid and I'll work it underneath them. and just give it a little pull. And I'll work that around, and I'll have a half inch or so of cord that I'm pulling through when I get down here to the bottom. So I'm going to get that done, get everything all tightened down, get my nails in place, and come back, because I cut this one off using a hot knife, but up here where I'm right up against this other wrap that I did, I don't want to use that hot knife and cut into this and damage it. So I'll just use a pair of scissors up here. So I'll get this one run, get all that done, and come back and show you how I do that. All right, I just wanted to come back and show how I tighten these that were in my first wrap. You can see how much slack I've pulled out of it so far. I don't go through and pull at every single point. I'll come around about halfway through again. Just work this knot or spin underneath. And I can get that to pull through. And then if you want to go a little tighter, there up here, you can actually get a hold of it with a little pair of pliers and give it a twist like that. And I just have to come back. I think what happened is when I was running the cord through, I might have, yep, I just felt it pop. What I did, when I was running a cord through one way, I hooked into this just a little bit. And so it made it really hard to pull through. And if you have a situation like that, you can go back and you can find where it is. And if you have a small pair of scissors like this, you can go in and just snip that area. Or like what just happened with mine, I was able to pull it through with the pliers, and it actually popped that little piece so that it was able to tighten up more. So I'm going to finish doing this. When I tighten these others, all I'm doing is pulling on these. I don't have to go through and tighten the whole thing all the way through. I just have to pull these from each end. Make sure when you're pulling these, you pull in the same direction that they're running. Don't grab one like this one right here is over here. And that one is actually, that's that. So like this one right here, if I grab that one right here, don't pull it this way, pull it in the same direction that way. Okay. All right, I'm going to start cutting these off. I had wrapped a piece of tape around here, just used electrical tape because it comes off easier. Give me a marker where to put all my nails in around this. I'm heating the tip of my knife up here. That way I get a nice edge done. It melts everything in. And that's how I'm just going to do these. I'm just going to continue to do that all the way around until I get that off. And then I'll come back and we'll do this top side. All right, I've got all these ends cut off. Now I'm going to do this side. I'm going to use these scissors so that I can get this right down as close as I can to everything. Now you can see I'm not cutting anything that's trapped by this one cord right here. So down to here. Now I can start cutting. Now again, right here, I'm not going to cut this one right here yet. I'm going to just continue cutting all these that are right next to my nails. Okay, so that's got all the nails right there. So I've got a brand new blade in my utility knife, and I'm just going to use that. Just being really careful that I'm not cutting into that layer underneath. You could actually probably, no, I'll just go this way. This one first. Always trying to cut the one that's on top first. So that okay, now I have saved my blade that I've been heating up. I'm going to put it back in my utility knife. I'm going to heat that up so I can melt all this down. Because if I try to do that with this, I'm going to be burning into this other cord. And I really don't want to do that. I want to keep it as clean as I can. So what we're going to do, I'll be right back. All right, I've put my old blade back in my knife. I'm heating that up. And then I can just take it and just press it into this cord like that. I'm not going to worry about these ends up here on the top up here because they're all trapped in really good. These others that are just caught with the nails, I want to melt that in. So my phone call was my dad, and I'm doing this staff for his neighbor who served in Vietnam. He was in the Marine Corps, and he has a Bronze Star. So my next section that I do on here is actually going to be the National Defense Service ribbon. So you can see how I'm just melting all that in, doing that. So once I get this done and I get my cords laid out for my next section, I'll be back. All right, I've got 14 strands here laid out. This is my 550 cord. These are 275. These are 550, 275, and 550. So this is my pattern that I'm going to be plaiting in order right here. But before I tie those onto this, all the little rough edges down along here, I want to make sure all smooth. So all I'm doing is taking my lighter and just hitting that a little bit and rubbing it down with my thumb. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm going to bring my vise over. Make sure you have a good vise. This is one that I got off of Amazon. It is a multi-angle Stanley. The model number is 83-069. Spend a little money on your vise. If you get a cheap vise, when you're doing your work and you go to pull something tight, what happens is your clamp that holds this pivot ball that's underneath here, I'll show you real quick. So this pivot ball here, it can wear out, and then when you go to pull on something, your vise is actually going to move on you. This is the second vise I've bought off Amazon. This is the one that I like. The first one, I can't even remember the name of it. It was like 12 bucks. And within 6 months, I was looking for a new vise. And I was able to find this one. Nick over at Nick's Whip Shop was doing a video with a guy on doing twisted English eye falls. And this is the vise that he uses. And I like the way that it looked, and it seemed like it was really good. So I ended up ordering it, and I've had this one for a good year and a half now. So, but what we're going to do, we're going to take, I'm going to leave it loose and get my project mounted in here. I want to make sure my letters are straight up at the top. See, now I can take this, I can move it right to where I want it. And then I can just tighten the vise down so that it'll hold it in place. Now, I'm going to take 7 of these cords, and everything's going to get messed up as I do this. I'm going to have to reorganize everything after I get it all on, but I want to try to keep it in as much the same order as possible. So these are 6 foot lengths. I've tied knots in the centers. I'm going to place those knots right on the back side of my project. I'm going to take my left side, bring it over the top, pull those through, take the right side and go back the other over to the left side. This can be a lengthy process getting this done, especially when you're working with this many cords. In a normal plat, I try to stay no more than a 16 plat. And what that means is I would have a total of 16 cords that I would be working with. So I would have 8 on this side and 8 on this side. So in this situation, I'd be working with 4 cords only. Here, because of all the differences that we've got, and because of the thickness of our staff here, this is actually a 28 plat. So when I get everything tied on here, I'm going to have 14 strands on the left and 14 strands on the right. It can get a little confusing at times, but with practice, you can get this to work out, and it looks really nice when it's done. So now that I've got those on there, I'm going to take these cords and I'm going to separate this out. I'm going to leave 3 of them and pull 4. I'm going to get all my ends all lined up down here. And right now they are not in order. I actually need to get this red one next to my yellow. Okay, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to feed this back through and open an eyelet here. I like to stick my finger through it just so I can hold it up like that. Feed these cords through, get a hold of them, pull it through a ways. I'm going to take my next 3 and get my ends lined up here. Run through. Now I'm going to tighten that first set of cords that I put on. Okay. I'm going to get them all in line. Okay, when I pull on these, I want to pull them so that that knot ends up right in the back of my project. Get these lined up here. The only reason why I'm getting these all lined up like this right here is just so they're in order for me, for my eye, so I can see where everything's going and what it's doing. It's probably not that critical right here, just because all this first section that I'm going to be doing is going to be cut off in the end. So that goes like that. Now this V point, I want it lined up with this up here. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work my cords in according to the color pattern that I need for my braid. So it's going to be yellow, then red, red, and then white, blue, white, red. So we'll take this back up. Pull those all down tight. Make sure everything's in the right spot. Now, I just want to pull these through and get my knots. So they're all up here on the top of my project. White, red, red. So, okay, now we have 14 cords on each side here. So what we want to do when we start our plat, the easiest way to remember what cord you're working with is this last cord right here at the bottom. This one's going left to right. So I'm going to take the top right cord, I'm going to come around, I'm going under 7 and over 7. Okay, now if I try pulling this tight, it's just going to pull through at this point. So I'm just going to keep it snug. So now this bottom cord is going right to left. I want my top cord right here, and I'm going to go under 7. So I got 7 there and over 7. 1, 2, 3. Should be that white one next. 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that yellow one comes up. This red cord is going to go underneath all that up there and around here. Okay. Now, now we're back here. This is going left to right. So we're to our second red one on the right side. It's our top cord. We come around again. This is under 7, over 7. So as you get used to doing this, you'll learn, you'll be able to see this cord comes over this yellow one. So I want to separate that yellow one and that red one. That will give me 7 under, 7 over. I'm not going to pull this tight. I'm just going to keep it snug. Doing this red one here, come over here. Okay, that yellow one's already in. That red one right there is the next one we're going under. So that gives me 7 over, 7 under. Okay, now we're going to this thin white one right here. It's going to come over and it's going to be this red one. The thin red one is the one we want. So we've got 7 cords here. So we've got 4 red, the 2 white and the blue. There's 7 cords there. We're coming around, going through like that. We want to find that same white cord On the other side, bring it around. Okay, red was the last one we went under. We're going to go under this white one right here. Okay. Now we're going to this blue one. Come around. Okay. So that blue one is going to go between this white one and this blue one right here. Get the right one. Bring it through. Now over to this blue one on the left side. It's going to come around. It's going to go underneath the blue one on the right side. Okay, like I said, all of this top section is getting cut off. It's going to be cut off right here at this point. So this doesn't have to look pretty, but once we start to drop off this triaxial star weave that we did, we want everything to be perfect at that point. Even though the first part of it is still going to be covered with a cover knot right here, if we've got this perfect here, then it'll stay that way as we go down through, and it won't be as difficult to keep everything in order. So that was blue. We're going with this white one now. Come over here. It's going to go underneath the blue and over the white. I still have not pulled this completely tight yet. I'm going to wait until I get everything off of this, off of the triaxial weave down onto the staff itself before I start pulling things tight, because I want to make sure everything is lined up right. So we're taking this white one, top one on the left, we're going to come over to the right, it's going to go underneath that white one and over the top of those four red right there to start with. So it comes under 7, over 7. Okay, now you can see we're starting to drop off right here, and it's actually going to look a lot worse as we drop off before it starts looking better. Now, we want this red one, okay? We're going to come around, and it's going to go underneath that white one, over all the reds, and the white, blue, white, just like that, okay? Now we want that thin red one again on the left side. We're going to come over. Now, we're picking up that red 550 cord on the right side. That's going to leave us 7 here to go over and 7 to go under. Okay. All right, now we're into this yellow one. Bring it around the back side. We're going to pull that first 550 red one up. We're going to go underneath it and over those. Take the next yellow one, come over here, so we're picking up 2 reds. Now, as this starts to drop off, everything's going to want to just start sloughing off, so you need to keep it snug, but not overly tight yet. And just keep pushing it up with your fingers. Okay. Doing this with the 2 different sizes is a little more difficult than doing it with just one size. But if I was to do this with all these the same size cord, it would be too thick and would be really crowded, especially when I get down here onto the staff. And what I mean by crowded is the cords would start disappearing inside the weave because you'd be getting these other cords over the top of other cords. And so I'm just going to continue. So again, left to right means you pick up that right cord, bring it around, go underneath. Now we're on the left side, coming around to the right, go underneath. Okay, you can see how this is really wanting to slough down here. Okay, so I'm off my triaxle weave in the front, but the back, I can feel the back side of it, and I can still feel that ledge where it's going to drop off. I'm still a few cords away. So I'm going to run through until I've gotten through this red section again down here, and then I'll be off that, and I can go through and I can pull each cord individually and tighten it up tight. So I'm going to get to there, and then we will get everything tight. If you're wanting to do something like this on a bullwhip, most bullwhips have two bellies. Because this is such, there's so much in this as far as strands, you might want to do your bullwhip with a third belly. And in the future, I'll be showing how to make bullwhips, and I'll be going over the two belly and a three belly bullwhip, and the differences there. When you're doing a three belly bullwhip, you're generally doing a whip that's longer, about 10 feet or more. So I use these same techniques on bullwhips as I do on walking staff. So I have done this triaxle weave on a handle on a bullwhip, done a couple of them, and I will be showing how I do that. Probably, well, not my next tutorial. My next tutorial, I've got a Thor's hammer to wrap that I'm going to put letters on like I did on this. So, now I'm starting to take this cord and I'm pulling it forward first before I bring it around. What that's going to do is just tighten my spacing up. Okay, I have actually, at that point, I've come off the back side of the triaxle weave, but I want to get some of these red cords down below these thinner cords, these 550 cords below these 275 cords, before I really start pulling this tight so that I don't get things messed up here. one more set. Okay, right there. Now, I'm going to go through and I'm going to pull on each cord individually. You can see how it's really tightening everything down. Now see, we're going to drop off right here, so it's going to kind of get a little ugly there. Back over here and just do the same thing. All right, so there we are. We're down onto the main body of our staff here. We're off this. We've got a good start. This is all going to be cut off right here, and this is going to be covered by a cover knot. So it's a lot of work to get to this point. Now I've got my ribbon started at this point, and I'm going to tie through, and I want to tie beyond where I'm going to cut it off, just so that when I do that, I can tie it off, I can put some tape around it, I can put my nails in it, and then I can cut this off clean and have a nice pattern in this. So I'm going to braid some more of this, and then I'll be back and I'll show you what the backside looks like and what you need to look for to keep everything looking good, not only on the front but on the back side too. All right, so I've gotten down through my braidaways here. I'm going to roll it over, check the back side, see how things are looking. I want to keep this tight. Things are looking pretty good. I got a little bit of a space right here. Just going to push it up there. A little bit right there. Okay. This starts to happen a lot because you don't have enough cord. If your spacing is really, really big on the backside, you probably need to add another cord or two into your plaiting sequence to make sure you get that filled up. You can see my front side looks really good. My back side is a little bit sloppy. There's another trick with this. When you're pulling your cord, so this is my next cord right here. I want to pull it forward a little bit and bring it down and make sure it follows around. And I'm using my finger to make sure that's laying where it needs to lay right there. So right there. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this down. I'm going to do a full nether pattern through, and then I'm going to end this. All right, so I've got this done. I taped it off, nailed it, and then cut my cords with my hot knife. I've got my nails in up here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to heat our knife up. This does use a lot of gas in your lighter to do this, but I'm finding I really like the way it finishes things off for me. Okay. There we go. Now, I will when I come back, I will show you how I build my bolsters on all these points to do my transition knots or cover knots between. All right, I'm getting ready to do the transition knots here, but before I do that, I need to build bolsters on these to tie my knots over. You can use leather. I like to use this neoprene rubber stuff. I get it from Amazon. It comes in a roll like this. So this is 15 inches by 60 inches by 1/8 inch on that. Because when I pulled that extra hockey tape off, it kind of pulled some of the finish off my staff right here. I want to cover this up, and you can see there's a pretty good lip right here. I want to kind of even that out when I'm doing this. So I've got two pieces here. This one is about 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to put that one right there. And that's going to even me up almost, well, pretty perfect right there. And then this is 1.25 inches, and I'm going to lay it right over the top of it like that. Now this one I've got to do a little bit of prep work too. I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm just going to trim at an angle the edges off. Give this kind of a little bit of an angle here so it's not a square edge. You're going to need a staple gun and a hammer and some hockey tape for this also. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take this, lined up right there, take our staple gun, put a staple in it, wrap it around, find where it comes together. It's always best to trim this just a little bit long. So overlaps just a little bit. Just going to trim a little bit off. Take our staple gun, go at a bit of an angle,
goes in there. Take your hammer and down. Now, I don't want to start this at the same spot. I kind of want to go a little bit past it. Make sure I'm lined up at the bottom there. Staple on that one. Come down again. Mark it. Cut that off. Trim just a little bit more of it. Now we're going to go around. Like that. Take our hammer again. Okay. Take our hockey tape. And that's our bolster right there. Okay, now these others, I'm going to do a 1 inch instead of this 1.25 inches. When I do that, I find that if I use a metal straight edge and a new razor blade when I'm cutting this neoprene, that works really well to get a nice straight line. Don't push hard, just gently drag it across it a couple of times. It'll cut right through it and leave you a nice clean edge. So I'll get these other 3 done, and then we'll come back and we're going to tie a 9x8 2-pass Turk's head over each of these. This one is going to be in the U.S. Marine Corps colors. They actually make a paracord called USMC for that. These 2 are going to be out of this Vietnam veteran ribbon cord, and then I have American flag cord that I'm going to use for this and also for the wrist strap up here when I do that. So, all right, I'll be back. All right, we're going to do our first knot here, first cover knot or transition knot. I've got my cord. This cord is actually called USMC for U.S. Marine Corps. Okay, now what I've done is I've cut this off at an angle here, and I've lightly melted it and smashed it down so that I can thread this smaller needle onto it. Now, show you the difference. These all come in a kit off Amazon. So this is a 550 and this one is a 175. You can see, so this is the flat one that I used for the stars. This is the one I'm going to use to tie this transition knot or cover knot. We want that in there so that we're not filling any sharp edges from where we melded it. That's why I just lightly do it. I don't do it really heavy. So now we're tying a 8-pass Turk's head. This is just, I've probably got close to 8 feet of cord here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to find this point on my staff. I'm going to lay that right there, come around behind. So I'm starting at the bottom, traveling up, going across the top, bringing this down. I want this to line up with that right there. Okay. So that's one pass. Now the second pass, we're going to come up. We're leaving enough room for another strand of cord to go in there. We're going to cross over and back around the front. Just over like that. Around the front there. Now, right here, we're over the top here. We're going to go underneath right here. Okay, that's our second pass. Now, come up here. Again, we're over the top right here. So right here, we're going to come underneath. Go over that one, come back down. Now we're going over this one and under this one right here. And over that one. I can actually push this up a little bit now. Go over this one. Under the next one. And over that one. You can see I'm kind of pulling that up in. Over that one. I'm over here. Bring it down. Now I'm going to adjust these a little bit. I'm going to bring them down right into these little corners right here. Over that one. Under this one. Over that one. Back up here. Doing the opposite of what this one's doing again. So we're under. Always making sure our cord's laying flat, there's no twists in it. Over that one. Under that one. Over that one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our fifth pass. over that one. Get that twist out of it. Under that one, over that one, back around, over. So we're starting our 6th pass here. Over, under again, right there. Adjust my camera just a little bit here. Over this one, back around. Under that one. Over that one. Under this one, over that one. Under this one right here. Over that one. Now, right here, we're starting our 7th pass. We're going to do the opposite of what this cord is doing, which is going to make it the same as what this cord is doing underneath it here. So we're going to go underneath right here. Going over that one. Under that one. Over that one. Under that one. And over that one. Now, we are going to go, we came over right here. We're going to go over again right here. So we're doing the opposite of what this cord does right here, but it's the same as what this cord over here is doing. So we go over that one, and we're going to go under this one. Over that one, under this one. Over this one, under this one. We're going over right here, and right here we're going to go over again, so that we're doing the opposite of this one and the opposite of this one below it. Okay. We're going to kind of straighten the cord up a little bit. So you can see this cord here and this cord here are doing the same pattern. We're going to interrupt that pattern by doing the opposite of those two cords. Okay, just like that. Now we're going to go over this one. We're going to come over here. It goes over right here, our previous pass. We're going over that previous pass. We're coming to this one right here, and we're going to go underneath. And now we're doing the opposite of what this cord's doing and what this cord's doing. So they're both underneath this one. We're going over it and under the next one. Over this one. Under the next one. Over this one here. Under that one. Make sure I got all my twists out. And over this one right here. Now, if I was doing two different colors on this knot, what I would do right here at this point is I would take this cord, I would go underneath those 6 passes right there and bring my cord out right here and cut it off. I would take my next color, count out 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one right here, I would start by placing my cord in right here, going underneath all of those, coming out right here, and then following this cord and just going around and doing my pattern again. But because I'm staying with the same color cord, what I'm going to do here, excuse me, I'm going to cross over the standing end with my working end, and then I am just going to follow that. I'm just going to follow that, or that end. I'm going to follow the cord on the left side. now I've completed my first pass of doubling up my knot. Okay, now as I do this, everything's going to tighten up, and that'll finish up my knot. So I'm going to keep doing this, and I'll come back when I get done and show you what I do with my ends to finish it off. All right, so my idea didn't work, so I just went back to a 2-color 9-lead 8-bite Turk's head. I did it in the Marine Corps dress blue and red. So the red represents the piping on their dress blue uniform. So I'll show you. So you can see, I've got one red end here. I've got my blue end right here. Cut that off. Just give it a little bit of a melt there. And then tuck it up underneath. Come over here to the red one. Do the same thing. All right. So there we are. Got our U.S. Marine Corps, the American flag, Vietnam veteran ribbon cord, bronze star, dress uniform colors, the National Defense Service ribbon, and the U.S. MC cord at the bottom. So that's our walking staff all finished right there.